Ricky Megee is a man who was born in 1971 in Victoria, Australia. As a child, he moved to Melbourne. He didn't finish college, and he worked odd jobs in a variety of roles. He was an electrician, a security guard in nightclubs, a carpet salesman, and at one time a shrimp fisherman. Despite his hard-working profile, he had already been arrested for getting involved in a fight in the city of Perth, where at the time there was also a lot of drug crime. In January 2006, at age 35, Ricky was offered a job at a government department in Port Hedland, Western Australia. He accepted the job and set off on a long journey, one which he had taken several times before. Driving a 2001 Mitsubishi Challenger, he took the Bunteen Highway, which for much of its journey was an empty desert road. During the trip, Ricky saw 3 men sitting by the side of the road with a stopped car.
You fellas alright?
Sorry, mate. Our car ran out of gas. We've been asking for help for a while, but nobody stops. They all go straight through.
No problem with me, mate. Want to ride to the petrol station? Now you'll find a way to get back.
Wow. Yeah, sure. Thanks, mate.
Once inside the car, suddenly, the passengers started attacking Ricky, and he felt as if something had pierced his arm, and then he passed out. When he woke up, he was in the passenger seat, while someone else was driving his car. Still dizzy, he tried to regain control of the steering wheel, but someone behind him gave a blow to his neck that made him pass out again. When he woke up the second time, he was in a small camp, tied up.
Who are you? What do you want? Take my car, I don't mind. Just give me some water, please. You can leave me here.
The men were organising backpacks, looking like they were going to leave. As soon as they saw Ricky awake, they handed him a bottle of water. At that time, Ricky just thought that what was happening was a big robbery. Only then did he remember that in the area there were people who paid for theft of passports, mainly for financial scams and the exchange of identities. He bitterly blamed himself for not remembering this before he offered them his help. He ended up passing out again, and when he woke up, he was in a shallow grave, covered by a black tarp. He was wearing only his shirt and pants. His socks and shoes were stolen. Checking his pockets, he noticed that his wallet was gone, but he still had $14 and his car keys. He felt great relief because he imagined that his car must be outside and that he could get out of this horrible nightmare. As soon as he got out of the hole, he looked around, but he saw nothing but dry trees and sand. There was no road, no river, no animals, and his car, of course, wasn't there either. For the next 10 days, Ricky just walked and slept. Barefoot, he often lost consciousness from exhaustion from the heat that reached around 40 degrees centigrade, and during the night, he slept very little, as the cold made him very uncomfortable. Despite being a desert, luckily for Ricky it did rain sometimes, so he was able to drink water from time to time, but realizing that it didn't rain every day, for survival, he started to drink his own urine. As a source of food, he ingested some flowers, and even ate some of the animals he encountered: snakes, frogs, ants, and lizards. After 10 days of journeying, he found a place where he managed to find a small dam, and nearby, a place to take shelter. He then decided to settle in for some time to try to protect himself from the sun, recover his energies, and let his feet heal so he could continue walking. In the following days, he only did what he needed to do to survive. He only walked nearby to drink water and eat. However, on such a poor diet, he ended up staying in this place for another 2 months. Until, on the 71st day, while resting, he heard a car passing near his shelter. He got out and started waving his arms to get attention and asked for help. Ricky was rescued by 2 employees from Birrindudu Station, which is part of a group owned by Heytesbury, one of Australia's largest export cattle producers. Ricky was about 30 kilometres away from that station, and, luckily, These employees took that route that day to visit another station. Ricky, who 71 days ago weighed about 100 kilograms, was only 45 kg when he was rescued. Due to his condition, he ended up staying in the hospital for 3 weeks, placed on a strict diet. But during that period, a new setback would take up his time. Ricky's story didn't convince the police. There were too many loose ends. Why was he left to die in a shallow grave instead of killing him and burying him for good? If his car had been stolen, why didn't they take the key with them? The police believe that this is a version that Ricky told to cover up something that was done to him that, if investigated further, could also land him in trouble with the police. Ricky underwent psychiatric care, and one of the doctors stated that he could not say that Ricky's story was true, but also he couldn't exactly deny it either. Taking into account the climatic and physiological conditions in which he spent those 71 days, his conscience could have suffered some kind of damage that only time could heal. Thus, for lack of evidence that could disprove what Ricky claimed, the case ended up being closed and solved as a victim of a robbery and kidnapping that survived extreme conditions. In 2010, 4 years after the incident, Ricky released a book called Left for Dead: How I Survived 71 Days Lost in Desert Hell. He ended up traveling to various places to sign his books and give motivational talks. Ricky is currently married to a girl named Kate, who he met the same year he was rescued, and he works in Dubai at a construction company. And what about you? Could you survive 71 days in the desert?